Today we want to talk about the triangle sum theorem, which says the sum of the angles measures of a triangle is 180. So we want to prove, using this picture, that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B equals 180. That's what we want to prove. So what I did was I drew a line, and I can put whatever points I want to on my line. So I'm going to use D and E. So when I draw, I can draw any line I want to. I want to draw a line so that DE is parallel to AC, and that's a construction. You can construct a parallel line. So step 2, if I have step 2, whenever I have parallel lines, I have alternate interior angles or corresponding angles. So if I look at this angle, there are my alternate interior angles. So I say angle DBA is congruent to angle A because they're alternate interior. I also could say my alternate interior angles on the right side. So I could say angle EBC is congruent to angle C. And I know that's true because they are alternate interior angles. All right. The next thing I want to do is I want to say that I know that I've got all three of these angles form this line here. So I could say the measure of angle DBA, which is on the left, plus the measure of angle B, which is in the middle, plus the measure of angle EBC, has to equal 180 because they form a line. And then finally, I know that DBA is the same thing as angle A, so I can take and substitute it in here. So I would say the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B. And then look, I know EBC is the same thing as angle C, so I can substitute in here. Plus the measure of angle C equals 180. And I can do that by substitution. So since I've got my last statement as my proof statement, I know I've proven that the angle measures add up to give you 180 in a triangle. Here's the next one. It wants me to prove that acute angles of a right triangle are complementary. So in order to do that, I know I've given a right triangle, so I'm going to go over here and draw a right triangle. You can name the right triangle anything you want to. I kind of like to use my initials. I want to prove that the acute angles are complementary. So that means that they add to equal 90. So I want to prove that the measure of angle J plus the measure of angle L equals 90. That would make them complementary. So I'm going to start out with step 1, which says triangle JIL is a right triangle. And I know that because I'm given. All right. I also know in my right triangle, since the box is at I know that angle I equals 90 because all right triangles have a 90-degree angle. That's the definition of a right triangle. All right. I know that the measure of angle, the measures of all the angles of the triangles add up to give me 180. So I could say the measure of angle J plus the measure of angle I plus the measure of angle L equals 180. We just proved that. That's called the triangle sum theorem. Triangle sum theorem. And then lastly, if I know the angle I equals 90, I can substitute 90 wherever there's an angle I. So I could say the measure of angle J plus 90 plus the measure of angle L equals 180. I did that by substitution. And if I take and I subtract 90 from both sides, they cancel here. So I could say the measure of angle J plus the measure of angle L equals 180 minus 90, which is 90. So I did that by subtracting. So here I wanted to prove that angle J plus L equals 90. In my last statement I did. All right, in this one, I want to prove that the measure of each angle of an equal angular triangle is 60. So I know I'm given a triangle where all the sides are equal. Let's call the triangle I like Brad, BRD. I know they're all equal. So I want to prove that the measure of angles B equals the measure of angle R equals the measure of angle D, and they all equal 90, or 60. So the statement is going to be, first one, triangle BRD is equal angular. And that's going to be a given statement. All right, so if triangle BRD is equal angular, then we know that triangle BRD, or the measure of angle B, is equal to the measure of angle D, is equal to the measure of angle R, because that's the definition of equal angular. So statement 3, I know if they're equal, all the angles are equal, I could say the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle D plus the measure of angle R all equal 180 because of the triangle sum theorem that we proved first today. And if I know they're all equal, I can let them equal x. By substitution. So if I combine my like terms, that's going to give me 3x equals 180 by combining like terms. And then I could divide both sides by 3.